Now celebrating the sound of Southern rock and a new effort to restore the place that helped create it. Jeffrey Brown visits Macon, Georgia for American Creator Series and part of our ongoing arts and culture coverage, Canvas.
Dreams, a classic song of the rock era. It was made famous by the Allman Brothers Band and performed on a recent night at Macon City Auditorium by musicians from then and now, as part of a celebration that looked both to the past and future. Keyboard player Chuck Lavelle helped put together this concert. He's been traveling the world for decades as music director for the Rolling Stones. But he lives on a tree farm near here, and back in the day was a member of the Allman Brothers Band.
It's intimate, and it reminded me that that was one of the cool things about it, because you were tight, you were there together with your fellow musicians when you were working.
He often recorded here at Macon's famed Capricorn Sound Studios, newly restored to its former glory.
My memories are so strong of making great music in this room. And so many other musicians would tell you the same thing. It's just such a special feeling. It's really hard to describe the magic of music. You know, when you hit the right note, man, and that magical feeling that you get when you are cutting a song that you feel like, wow, this has a chance to be a hit. And we've cut a lot of hits in this room.
Hey, little girl, you are sweeter than honey.
The story actually begins earlier with a local singer who became an international superstar, Otis Redding. Along with his manager, Phil Walden, Redding dreamed of building a musical hub here in Macon.
I think his sound came from deep within his soul, from what he was taught in the church.
Daughter Carla Redding Andrews today runs the Otis Redding Foundation, which offers music education programs to children.
This was going to be where he would be able to be home and record, and be able to go back to his ranch and fish and hunt and swim and bring other artists to Macon and really just catapult Macon to this sound that's so special to our community.
That dream ended when Otis Redding died in a plane crash at age 26 in 1967. But 2 years later, Phil Walden and his brother Alan launched Capricorn Records. It would become home to a soulful Southern rock, with acts including the Marshall Tucker Band, Bonnie Bramlett, Elvin Bishop, and many others. There were 10 years of hits, but the music industry changed. Capricorn ended up in bankruptcy, the studio building was abandoned, and eventually fell into disrepair.
Oh, Mr. Jailer Man.
Now it's back, with a performance by Jimmy Hall, former singer for Wet Willie, another Capricorn band, and a grand opening in December, where the public had a chance to check out the facilities. A developer had bought the buildings as part of a growing downtown renaissance here, including new loft apartments, and then donated the studio buildings to Macon-based Mercer University. With outside funders, including the Knight Foundation, For the Record, a NewsHour underwriter, Mercer has turned the space, now called Mercer Music at Capricorn, into a nonprofit incubator for local musicians, along with a small museum celebrating the history.
This project will propel the Renaissance.
Mercer President Bill Underwood says he grew up loving Southern rock, but this is about something else.
What does Mercer get out of this?
Mercer gets a vibrant community. One thing I've learned is that dying, decaying communities are not attractive to people. The more vibrant, interesting, and exciting your community is, the better able you are to attract talented faculty, talented students, and staff. So anything that's good for this region is good for our university.
So 5-10 years down the road, what do you see?
I see lots of creative, talented young people with tattoos and nose rings running all over downtown Macon.
That sounds good to you?
Yes, as long as it's not my daughter.
The new dream is that Macon once again becomes a musical hotspot, with the restored studio serving as an anchor. That was would suit 20-year-old Maggie Renfro, who grew up here before moving to Nashville to pursue a music career.
If the history in the music here in Macon continues to grow, and next thing we know, a label pops up here, I would be the first person to come back here and show Nashville and show LA and New York that Macon really could be a spot where it's a music hub.
I asked Otis Redding's daughter Carla what she hopes to see in Macon in the coming years.
The next Otis Redding
Yeah.
to come out of here.
That's no little thing, by the way, right?
But you know what? It's possible because they have everything they need right here to make it happen. Great engineer, great recording room. There's no reason why it can't happen.
And why not? All it takes is some hard work, commitment, and support. And as the great Otis Redding song tells us, sung on this night by Taj Mahal, a little respect. For the PBS NewsHour, I'm Jeffrey Brown in Macon, Georgia.
Some great news for that southern city.